I would like you to join me in welcoming Mr. Nic Hurcombe.
Good evening. Yes, isn't he tall? I know that's what you're thinking. It's all right. I get it all the time. It's like, in fact, I often get it myself. I often catch myself walking past shop windows and just have the unbelievable, overwhelming urgency to run up and go, so exactly how tall are you really? It's all right. I get it all the time. So just before we go any further, let's get the whole height thing out of the way. 2 meters, exactly, just so you know, which is quite handy really. In fact, my foot is also exactly 1 foot, so I've got metric and imperial on the whole not quite so compact package. What else? No, I never played basketball, just so you know. In fact, I did used to actually play water polo once upon a time, many, many years ago. And that meant that I was often disqualified for touching the bottom of the pool, because in water polo you've got to keep off the bottom of the pool. So a lot of the time I actually end up looking like a half-drowning frog in a very small puddle. What else? Oh, and in fact, it's not always lovely to be this tall, despite what you actually think. It's, sure, it does come in handy for, crowds and gigs and light bulbs and stuff, but a long time ago I used to have when I was a poor student, I used to have to drive a little Renault 10. I don't know if you know what a Renault 10 is. It's one of those little tiny French cars. Thank you, Catherine. So, for those who know, it's a little tiny compact car, and every time I drive it, I swear to God, people would look at me and they'd expect that there would be at least another, 14 clowns and a dwarf would get out with me. It was just kind of that small. So, yes, I am extremely tall, but it's actually helped me quite a fair bit in my life, and so it gets to the point where you just embrace it, you just go with it. So, for a very, very long time, I quite enjoyed being big and tall, despite the fact that people used to come running up to me and, ask me the obvious question. The great conversation opener, gee, you're tall, aren't you? Yes, I am. Then where do you go? But then many years later, I had children. And for those parents in the audience that know, when you have children, your life becomes different. Everything kind of suddenly changes, and more often than not, you become a slave to somebody else. So I found myself one morning at 9:30 in the morning at the local playgroup, sitting on the side of a sandpit, my knees up around my ears, as usual, completely invisible. If someone stood up in a crowd and raised their voice up way up loud and waved their arm and shook their leg, you'd notice him. If someone in a movie show yelled fire in the second row, this whole place is a powder keg, you'd notice him. And even without clucking like a hen, everyone gets noticed now and then, unless of course that personage should be invisible, inconsequential. Me. Cellophane. Mr. Cellophane should have been my name, Mr. Cellophane, 'cause you can walk right through me, walk right by me, and never know I'm there. I tell ya, Cellophane, Mr. Cellophane should have been my name, Mr. Cellophane, 'cause you can walk right through me, walk right by me, never know I'm there, never even know I'm there. So there I was, sitting on the side of the sandpit, sitting in furniture that looked pretty much like this. This is what it looked like. Thank you. Thinking, what on earth am I doing here? I'm having these conversations with these women about cracked nipples, water retention, and period cramps. Interesting. Lovely. Yeah, no, I'm a full-time father. I love it. And then suddenly I realized that everything around me was little. Little kids, everywhere I turn I can see them. Little kids, night and day I eat and sleep and breathe them. I'm an ordinary person with feelings. I'd like the chance to renew my career, but I'll admit, no one has met. In the meantime, I'm the father of the year. How I hate little shoes, little socks, and each little bloomer. I'd have cracked years ago if it weren't for my sense of humor. One day I'll step on their freckles, someday I'll straighten their kids. Send the flood, send the flu, anything that you can do to little kids. Kids. And having said that, I do love my children dearly, especially when they're asleep. But there's something about kids that teaches you a whole different part of how to love. And you realise that although they drive you crazy, they might madden you intensely, they stick things in the video recorder when they're not meant to, they wake you up in the middle of the night, everything that they do is often quite funny. Funny Valentine, sweet comic Valentine, you make me smile with my heart. Your lips are lovable, unforgettable.